My parents, from the time I can remember, always said, if you want to meet your birth mother, just say the word and you can. And I always thought when I was 18, when my friends would ask me if I'd ever met her, because that was one of like the first questions I'd get asked, I would always say when I turn 18, I will. And I think I just had this really kind of like influenced by the media distorted idea that like adulthood would mean I would like, oh yeah, I need to meet my birth mother, I'm missing something, she'll have the answers. And when I turned 18, I did not feel like I have not felt that I wanted to meet her. And I think part of that reason is because my parents have been so forthcoming with information about her, and I know what she looks like, I know about her medical history, I know everything I need to know. And so it's nice to know that if the day ever comes where I would like to meet her, that I can. But it's also really a relief to not have the pressure of having to have a relationship with somebody when I feel like I have two parents who are, I feel complete as an individual. And I think it's interesting, I'm the oldest of 5, and not one of my siblings has ever chosen to meet their birth mother, even though they've had the option and still could today. So I think it's a testament to how they raised us. And also what we were talking about in the beginning, having these really strong female figures in our lives where we feel like we have that maternal connection with others. So it's not something I'm constantly in search for.
Since I was little, I've known my gestational carrier, and we went on a family vacation with her 2 years ago. Like, we have a very open relationship. Like, I have her phone number, and like her kids I'm very close with, I have their phone numbers. And then my biological mother, because I was not delivered by her, she is an unknown donor, and so I get to meet her when I'm 18, but she doesn't really want to have a relationship with me because of privacy reasons.
Similar to Jean, even though I know that my aunt donated the eggs, my gestational carrier, though I know who she is and like I could meet her if I wanted to, I've never really felt the need, but that doesn't mean I'm not grateful that she carried me and my brother. Just like add that, like I'm very grateful that and it's not that I don't want to like know who she is or like have a relationship with her, I just don't feel the need to. And like, so while yes, like at one time we were so close that I was literally inside of her, but it doesn't really mean that like we have some special connection to one another. That would mean that I would like to or need to meet her at any point in my life.
Yeah, and one of my dads, like, he writes to her every year and sends her photos of us, and so he maintains that relationship. And, it's just something to, obviously, I'm sure, like, this weekend you've heard all about these different options, and now it's, like, crazy that there's so many different ways of doing it and so many different people involved in, like, the making of a child, which is really beautiful. But, yeah, she was my egg donor and my birth mother. I'm, like, not even familiar with the correct terminology because there's so many things that I never realized.
There's so many.
She was the same, yeah. And my biological dad is one of my dads. But I feel equally close to both of my dads. I don't feel at times even like closer to the one who's not my biological father.
Since my aunt was my egg donor, technically my cousins are like my half siblings, right? So to me, they're no more than cousins, even though like technically they're my half siblings, but like they're not like, we don't treat each other as like half siblings or like anything more than just cousins, because that's really what we are, because we were raised by different parents in different countries actually. So like, yeah, we're close and we have good relationship, but it's not like they're any like more special than any of my other cousins who I'm not like technically a half sibling to.
Sorry, I get that question. My brother is my full brother, and my aunts don't have kids. So as far as I know, I don't have any half siblings or step siblings because we know who my parents are.
I have a adopted brother, and to add on to something for the last question, so my biological dad is right there, but since I do have 4 dads and I'm not blood related to all of them, I do feel equally connected. But so I have 2 dads that I have had since I was a baby, and then they got divorced when I was 4. And then about 6 months later, biological dad, he's now partners with and has been for the past 7 years with one of I call them stepdads, but they aren't really because they aren't married. And then about 4 years ago, my other dad has gotten his partner, and they've been together.
my birth mother does have a daughter who I know her name and I've seen her photo, but again, like, haven't ever met her. So I do have, I guess, a half sister, but I would never think of calling her that. But I am blood related to all of my brothers and sister, but because the two sets of twins aren't related to each other, but you would never hear any of us think to call or actually call them a half sibling. Like because that's just not what we are. We're so close, and it's just not even at all. I definitely want lots of kids, but I'm not in a hurry. So I definitely know I do, and that's something I've always known just because of how close I am with my brothers and sister. It's definitely something I want, and it's definitely just seeing how the process, like we were kind of Jean and I were talking a little bit about this before this panel, like the things that our parents went through to have children, like you are so wanted.
You know
there
you're not
are
an
no
accident.
mistakes. Like you don't, like somebody once said that to me, like you're a mistake. I was like, that's actually not possible. So like, I'm not. So it's just like knowing that and feeling so loved and so wanted is something that I'm so excited to do, as a mother one day. And I have considered being a surrogate. It's something I could see myself doing just because of how important that role was to my dads. So maybe for somebody I know.
Sorry, just like a half comment, like kind of related to what we were speaking about before. So a lot of people have like the idea of a parent as someone who gave birth, like the people who gave birth to you, basically. And whereas like people with two dads or even two moms, it's not necessarily exactly the case. So, and as Jean was kind of saying, parents are the people who raise you and who love you, and that also goes for adopted kids. And if you have like two dads, just because they didn't actually give birth to you doesn't mean that like they didn't love you or anything, or that they're not actually your parents, but in fact it means that they loved you so much that they went through this crazy process to have you, and it feels really great to know that. And then so as for my own future, I'm not really sure. Like I'm taking it one step at a time, like first like finishing school and college and like things like that, and then I'll think about kids.
I do want to become a parent, and since I was born by surrogacy, I do want to have kids by surrogacy so I can know what it was like, what my parents went through. And I've been thinking about becoming an egg donor and a carrier for other people because it is a very wonderful process that helps so many people who can't have babies by themselves be able to have babies. So I think it's just a very wonderful thing.
One other thing that I've highly considered in my life is I love chemistry, I love science, and I've considered going into genetics and things like that and helping with making IVF and surrogacy treatments just easier because I know how many hoops my parents had to jump through 16 years ago. And I would definitely in the future, again, I'm 16, so I'm taking it one step at a time, but I would definitely in the future consider surrogacy or something to help others.
I didn't know any other children with gay parents growing up, so absolutely not for me. And I think I can speak for my siblings too. Like I don't think we feel any closer or not to people who have similar upbringings to us. I don't recall who was saying it. It might have been you, about like being really open, being raised to be really open-minded. And so I often relate with people who have other struggles or have had different discrimination, experience those different things because I can relate in that way in ways that like other like blonde white girls might not be able to.
So one of the reasons that I've gone to Provincetown so much is Family Equality Council and another organization called Collage, which they've stopped using the acronym for it because it was a little bit less inclusive, that they have a week every year called Family Week, and it's in Provincetown, and it is where basically all the gay families come and flood the streets. So it's a very child-friendly week, I promise. And I've been going since I was 2 months old. And yeah, I've been going since I was 2 months old, so this is my 17th year. And it's just been really, really cool to have that experience. And there's actually a couple of kids who have deaf parents, which is very exciting. Like, it's just such a very diverse community, and it was really helpful to have those friends, and I talk to them all year round. I see them randomly. One of them is here now with her parents, and I might try to meet up with her. Like, it's just such a cool community to be a part of, and I'm very glad that I was able to.
Like, I did have, like, relationships. Like, I did know people who were children of LGBT parents. Like, currently I go to a camp for a week every summer, which is specifically for children of LGBTQ parents. Highly recommend. It was a great camp. But, like, I don't think I ever felt, like, a special connection. Like, it was very nice to know them, and it was very nice to know, like, I'm not alone in the world. Like, but it's not like it's not something, as you were mentioning, that you, like, need. However, it is very nice to know people who are similar to you. It's something to relate and to bond over. So if you get the chance, I would recommend introducing your kids to other kids of gay men, but it's not like something you have to do.
As I said earlier, I have a friend named Olivia who has 2 moms, and we are very similar in a lot of ways. We both have pink houses, brothers, pets. A lot of things are similar, and we are friends. We're like mutual friends, but we aren't super close, and I feel that I don't have any different special connection with somebody that has been going through something like mine, any processes like having LGBTQ plus families. I feel honestly that I have equal relationships with everybody, and everybody really tries to treat me equally as well.
Okay, so my aunt also lives in Boston with her wife, and while we both live in Boston, she lives a half an hour away. So she's pretty close relatively, and I see her frequently. Her wife actually is with me and my brother almost every day. She's our designated driver. So I have a really, really close relationship with them, and they've definitely been my motherly figures, but in no way, shape, or form is she my mom. She is my aunt, and if someone asks me, she's 110% my aunt. And also with the whole, the dad that's the uncle, he's my dad, straight out. He's not my uncle, and there's never that thought, and people who bring it up, I shoot them down immediately. That's not, it's my parents and my aunts. It's a completely different thing.
To me, she's nothing more than an aunt. Like, I'm very grateful for her egg donation. Like, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So, and however, like, we never had, like, she's not like Aunt Mom or any sort of like more special relative like over my other aunts. However, like, when I was going through puberty, like, she was the one of the first people like my parents reached out to for me to like have that conversation with. However, my parents did like say like, you know, we don't have to go all the way to Canada for this, you know. Like I had other women I could talk to, but so she's not like my mom or anything, and she's definitely strictly my aunt, and her kids are strictly my cousins, not my half siblings. So like, I think it's whatever your kids, future kids' relationship with her will be whatever you make it out to be in the beginning. So like, if you like call her aunt in front of them, they'll call her aunt, or if you call her Aunt Mommy, they'll probably take after that too. So like, I think that's something you can kind of initiate if you want like a special connection, or if you just want her to be just regular aunt, like who happened to do something very nice once back in the day.
I would definitely try to keep them in contact though a little bit.
Yeah.
My aunts take me clothes shopping because, no offense to my dads, they don't have the best style. So like, it's just really nice to have someone there who, and my aunt and I are so incredibly similar, obviously because we're related, but it's just really fun to be around her and spend time with her.
Even though I do have 4 dads, my dad here has a mediocre fashion sense. Because, Dad, you know that there's some things that you are like, oh my gosh, this is so cute, you have to buy this, and you have to wear it every day for the rest of your life, and I hate it.
Yeah, don't force your kids.
I absolutely hate them. So know that just because you like something and you feel like you would like have it like on your kid every day and it would look so super cute, it doesn't always, you should always let them have the final say, because even though it is your money and you are the parent, but like you might think it's so super cute, but they might not.